What's up, everybody? This is the Palmer Squares.
And you're listening to the Average AF podcast.
This is Dan Cummins, and you're listening to the Average as Fuck podcast.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Catalyst Bars, and you're listening to the Average AF podcast. Let's get it.
What's up, guys?
Yo.
This is episode 48
of
the Average AF podcast. I am here with Steve, as always.
You know.
And we do have a special guest here, Miss Erica Stewart.
Oh, hit the button. You got the button, right?
I don't know which button it is,
Fuck.
man. Oh, there
Where did these people come from?
It's nice to have you. We wanted to bring Erica in because she does a lot of cosplay and stuff like that, and it's a whole different kind of realm for us. Like, we have no idea about that world. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you for dressing up. Are you in like a certain character right now, or?
No, just kind of a lot of stuff in cosplay. People just kind of throw shit together.
Right.
So they call it like an original concept.
Gotcha.
Okay.
It looks good though. I like it.
Thank
I
you.
like it.
Thank you.
But before we did start here, we do actually have kind of an announcement. I'll let Steve take over from there just with that.
Yeah. So the people that have been listening since day one, some of them probably already know. I think I mentioned it before.
Vaguely, but
Right.
yeah.
So this is episode 48. Episode 52 will be my last one.
Boo.
To all the people that are sad about that, I appreciate you, because that lets me know that you actually thought I did a decent job on this thing. When I first got into it, though, you know, I was planning on moving to Arizona. This is all before the Rona. And I was like, I don't know if I want. I knew I didn't want to do it long term. But at that point, you know, I was just about, you know, trying new things, pushing myself out of my comfort zone, because this was something that I never seen myself doing, to be honest with you. Not one fucking day in my life. So, you know, it was a decision that I made. Like, you know what? Fine, let's do it. You know, just to push myself to do something. And then, you know, most days I love it. I absolutely love it. But
Most days.
yeah, most days, because without making it sound like it's a burden. I hate to use that word,
Right.
but you know,
It does take up a lot of time.
for you. For me, not so much. But there, and you know, in the beginning, there was a lot of planning that we did, and like, what we're going to talk about, and you know, making sure we came with quality content rather than just, you know, coming up the top of our head. And you know, you got to think too that I didn't watch a lot of podcasts before, like really, especially video ones, like never. So I didn't really know what to expect or what to even do coming into something like this. But it never for me got to a point to where I got passionate about it, as you are, you know, Adam, and you know, but I definitely enjoy it while I'm doing it in the moment. It was something that is 95% of the time a fucking blast.
Right.
But like I said, I got some other things that I really want to focus on, full head of steam, you know, and like I said, my original plan anyway was to do it for a year, because I plan on moving in September, October-ish, somewhere in there, and I wanted some time to really focus on that. But for all the people that will miss me, I am sorry. Direct your comments to me however you want to.
Right.
If this does blow into what Adam plans on it blowing eventually someday, I'm just glad to be a part of the beginning of it, man.
Right.
To be all the way honest with you, I still plan on. I'll probably become a Patreon member as soon as I'm done with it. Probably be the first. Did Taylor ever go to 10?
No.
Then I'll be the first. I'm gonna call his ass out anyway. But I'm gonna be the first 10 if he don't jump on it before then. And then you know, I definitely plan on coming on every now and then,
Right.
updating you guys on what's going on. But yeah, for me, it's time to move on to other things.
Right. And with that, you know, again, just real quick before we get into the episode fully, this is something that Steve, I mean, we've kind of known from the beginning that it's not going to be long term. It's not going to be, you know, forever. And, you know, he told me episode 52 probably like a month or two ago. Like, you know, it's not anything that just recently came up. It's something that we've known for a while. We do have somebody filling in for Steve, you know, when that time comes. And right now, unless something changes in the next couple weeks, that is going to be Ryan Baker, which, he's been on the podcast twice.
I'm going to say at least twice.
Right. So, if you haven't heard him, go back and check those episodes. But he's going to be the replacement for Steve. And we're just going to kind of go from there. It's still going to be the same shit, same type of episode, same content, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, man. Like I said, once again, my apologies to those who were sad. I know Tommy was like, "No, you can't fucking leave. What are you doing?"
Right.
But like I said, I just think it was fun while it lasted, and it's just time for me to go all in on what I really want to do.
Right.
And yeah, that's that.
All right. Well, with that, was that awkward at all for us to break up in front of you?
When you first said it, I was like, boy, this is my first time on here and they're breaking up. Damn, this sucks. Is it me? I'm sorry.
But yeah, we, like I said, we have no idea about the cosplay world at all.
Yeah, first of all,
go ahead.
Can you just define what that is? Because I just know of the term when I hear it. I don't necessarily know the definition.
So I didn't
of what
even,
cosplay
for the longest time, I never called. My friends were like, it's cosplay, it's cosplay. I was like, costumes?
Right.
Costumes,
Right,
right? It
right.
took me a year before.
So it's not related. Those terms are not.
I mean,
is it like inappropriate for us to say costumes? Like
no,
would
not
people
to me.
get upset?
Some people, maybe. I mean,
Okay.
in the cosplay community, I'm not going to lie, people are pretty sensitive on certain topics, certain things.
Right.
And I'm still learning, and I've been cosplaying 5 years, I think.
Right.
But also, from Butler, Ohio,
right.
and Clearport, it's like,
Well, I did
all
want
issues my education.
Right.
That's all I got.
I did want to ask you too, like, we graduated from the same place, you know, a small town, kind of a hick town, a farm town, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to ask too, how did you go from that to cosplay?
I know.
Was it like
straight up?
Did you
So,
just
Woke up
my,
one day and decided to do it.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? I just want to put on a bunch of makeup and costumes and just frolic into these random events with tens of thousands of... No. So, honestly, I got lucky enough. My best friend, since we were like 5, ever
Damn.
since grade school, she went to Butler Elementary School, and she moved out in 4th grade. So
Okay.
that's why you don't know her. But you probably
Gotcha.
seen her...
I was waiting for a name, but that makes sense.
Do you know Brandy Booth?
I know the name.
You may have seen her cosplay
actually,
with me, blonde.
I may have worked with her previously.
Really?
Like not directly, but in the same place,
Where at?
potentially. StarTech, maybe?
Nope, not her.
No? Okay.
Nope.
Damn, I'm sorry.
I know every place she worked at, so I'm like, hold on.
Okay.
There's no way.
But I do recognize the name.
Yeah, but I don't remember, but she claimed, she goes, I've asked you for years. It took you forever to say yes. I was like, did you? Oh shit, maybe you did.
Right.
I don't pay attention to nothing. I just kind of
Right.
go with the flow. But she's like, you look like this character. You got to come to this con. You look like him. We need this one last character. We have the whole group. And I'm like,
Gotcha.
one of your nerd fucking conventions. Yeah, let's do it. Fuck it. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything. I don't know how to sew. I don't know anything. She's like, all right, let's go. So we get this fabric from Joann's, and I look like a complete friggin' dweeb. Oh, what's this? What are we doing?
Right.
We finally make it, and we get there, and small town, whatnot. I wasn't very comfortable with a lot. So like, when I would go swimming, I wore boy shorts.
Right.
Or like short. I did not wear bikini bottoms. Those made me very uncomfortable. And my first cosplay was Deanne. It's this orange jumpsuit, and it's like bikini bottoms. And we're at Kalahari, and it's a water park. And the first 2 hours I'm there, I show up, I'm covering my butt the whole time,
Right.
like all self-conscious. And then everyone's like, "Oh, Deanne, you look awesome. Let me get a photo. I was like, okay.
Right.
Then after a couple hours, I'm like, you want a photo? Mm-mm.
Right.
Yeah. Ooh.
you
Ah. And I'm like, hey, Brandy, when's the next con?
Right.
This is fucking awesome. Oh, look at that. You see, that's fucking Batman.
Right.
That's badass. Actually, there was a Batman. He did a full armor suit.
Wow.
Like the whole kit and caboodle.
Wow.
He had like LEDs in the helmet and everything.
Wow.
Damn.
I'm sitting next to him going, eek,
Right.
with these little pigtails and everything. And
That's awesome. So it kind of started as like a favor to a friend,
yes.
and then you got kind of addicted.
I was hooked.
Yeah.
It was over. I knew I was in big trouble after that.
That's awesome. Does it I know obviously there's a lot that goes into the cosplays. I almost said costumes, but I'll try to avoid that.
No, that's fine. It's honestly, it's like if anyone's heard of Comic-Con,
Everybody's heard of Comic-Con.
Yeah, we
you'd
just
be
don't know what it is.
surprised. A lot of
Really?
people have no idea.
I feel like everybody
you know?
our age at least is aware of it. They might not have seen it, but they kind of know what it is.
Yeah.
So it's not a role play. It's just kind of you. Well, I mean, how do you determine? You just kind of wake up and like, all right, today I'm going to put on this.
So it
And
just
show up. Because at those events, you never see like two of the same people. It's not like Halloween party where two people might show up as fucking, I don't know, Mario.
Right.
You know, it's always, so I didn't know if it was like coordinated. I didn't know if people like got up with each other, like I'm gonna wear this, like what you want to wear, or if it's just kind of a thing where you wake up and you're like, I'm gonna put this on, you know, and show up.
it's
So
basically like Halloween on steroids.
Okay.
That is
Gotcha.
the best way, because you know at Halloween, everyone's drunk, everyone's just put like the cheapest of cheap whatnot. You know, you don't
Right.
see very. Sometimes you see people really into Halloween and put a lot of money into it. Generally, those people discover cosplay and just kind of go into it because people respect it more and
Right.
people get crazy into it. So, like, imagine, has anyone been to a convention?
No.
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 No convention of anything. Not cosplay convention or not just convention in general.
I don't think so. Maybe for like work, like a business one, but that's like super lame.
So imagine a business one, but like with shit you're interested in. So like there's anime conventions, there's game. Have you heard of BlizzCon?
Heard of it, but is that like Blizzard gaming
Yeah,
stuff?
that's
Oh
it's
man,
all
I'm so
it's
smart.
all focused. Yeah, it's all focused around Blizzard, right?
Right.
And they have games like what is it, World of Warcraft, right?
That's the one
I
I
know
know.
it through Hearthstone,
Okay.
right? And there's a bunch of that's a huge con that
so
honestly,
like Dungeons and Dragons.
yeah, that works. Yeah, there's people.
I know
There's
people that gather up for that type of shit too.
Yeah.
So
So, like, if you go to a con, you have to buy what's called a badge, which is on a lanyard, a little bloop, bloop, ticket to get yourself in. And there are, oh my gosh, there's so much different stuff. Where do I start? Ugh. There's a dealer's room, which I always got to go to the dealer's room because that's where you go, where I call you get all your nerd memorabilia and stuff.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So, like, even there's a bunch of Japanese candies and different stuff from all over the world that is from, and I go to a lot of anime cons.
Okay.
So it's basically around, even though it's an anime con, there are people cosplaying from, there are original characters that has nothing to do with anime, nothing to do, it's original concept.
Right.
There you go. There's cartoons, there's Marvel, it's everything.
wow.
Yeah, I don't even know kind of where to start.
So is it just people gathering up and being like just shooting the shit, or is there like
So,
competitions? Do you win money? Is there prizes? Is
all
it
kinds. There's a burlesque show where people
Oh,
go
wow.
in nerd whatnot and then strip their nerd whatnot and then dance on each other's whatnot.
right?
And they, that was wild. See, my first
Damn.
anime burlesque show, I was like, what the fuck? Because it's just so different. But like, it doesn't matter. The one thing I love about the cosplay community is that everyone's so supportive. It doesn't matter if someone's costume is crap, you're gonna get a compliment. Someone's gonna say,
Right.
you're fucking awesome.
Right.
Where'd you get that? That looks so cool. Oh, I love that show too. You know, everyone, it's a nerd community. So everyone's been picked on most of their
Right,
lives. Then
that's
they go
true.
there and they're just like, I dressed up as Naruto. He's my fucking favorite. But I just,
Right.
thank you. Oh, thank you for the
Yeah.
compliment. Maybe I can do this.
So so people are like kind of aware of that and like try to build people up and like
I think so.
And
Most
that's funny
definitely.
you said that word. I'm glad you said it first because that's how it struck me. Like it's kind of like I don't know if you know. I know of a few people that I used to work with that was really into Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this cult mentality almost. Like I try to have them on my friend break it down. Like, so what do you do? And it's kind of like, well, we just go and we show up and
right. You're not part of the club, dude.
right. That's what they made you feel like. You were just
Right.
an outsider to the whole thing.
Ooh.
And cosplay kind of feels that same exact. I hated to call it a cult or a bunch of nerds or
No.
smart
Have at it,
people. If that's
honestly.
a better word.
So
but
it's just a matter of dipping your toe into it and knowing someone so then they could get you into it. And then after that, you're just kind of on your own, you know?
Okay.
But there's like, they even have, one of my friends, Alana, she is, I'm pretty sure, the best in the state or with Mario Kart.
Oh wow.
And they
Wow.
do like, what's it called? Like competitions, whatnot, and everything, and
Tournaments,
yeah,
probably.
tournaments, whatnot, and brackets, and go
Right.
down, and they do like Mario Kart. But Blizzard is huge with their stuff, and I'm pretty sure there's a pot or something you get from that, like a large sum of money.
Right.
But they have Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. There are game rooms. Oh my gosh, they're freaking massive.
Right.
Imagine a gymnasium just filled with games everywhere. Everywhere. All kinds of different
crazy.
games too. Every game you can think of is probably there. And they
Wow.
even bring in it's called a game room. But they even bring in games from Japan, and they're all like kind of like Just Dance, you know what I mean? So
Okay.
they're all like motion, they're all like sound, color oriented, so bloop, 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 stuff like that.
Nice.
Okay.
And a lot of those games are real fun too. But gosh, it's crazy.
Wow.
And that's just the game room, and that's just the dealer's room, and that's just they
Right.
have panels where they just like one of them is let's shit on your waifu or something like that. And a waifu is where you have an anime crush, and you're like, oh, my waifu is. Let's see who do I are you guys familiar with Naruto? That's a pretty common one, so I'm gonna use it. No. Oh my gosh. Okay, what anime? Do you guys know any?
I
anime?
know. The only thing I know is Dragon Ball Z, which I don't.
Okay.
It's kind of a
right.
lower level anime
Yeah.
from my understanding. I don't know.
You cannot go to a con without seeing
Somebody from
Dragon
that
Ball.
shit.
Yeah,
I just feel like
can't do it.
from what when like people mention anime and I'm like Dragon Ball Z, like it kind of feels like the rookie card. Like, come on, man, like do
it
better.
feels
I wouldn't
so
say that.
Americanized, like
Right.
you even really call it something from
So yeah, so I know Dragon Ball Z, and I don't know if you would consider this anime or not, but like The Last Airbender, I know
Oh.
that,
So-
but
I used to think, I was like, how is that not anime? Well, it's not. It was
Right.
it was made America. So it wasn't made in. It's just not anime.
oh okay, okay, I got you.
But yeah, a lot of people will be like, oh, and you'll get big fights over it. So
Right.
don't say that.
Right.
You'll get yelled.
So I know you've done, I think, Bulma, is that
Mhm.
right? So I know Bulma. So like she would be what, a waifu, is that what you said?
If you're into Bulma and you're like, damn, she looks fine, and she's your waifu.
She is pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie.
So then you'd be like, that is my waifu. And then there's like, so then for the male version, it'd be senpai.
Okay. Oh, I've heard that. Gotcha. Okay. And
So
that's like
then-
your dream husband type thing.
Yep,
Okay.
that's it. So then a lot of people would be like, oh, Goku is my senpai.
Right.
You know.
I was always personally a fan of Trunks, but whatever.
Vegeta all the way.
Vegeta's a badass, but Trunks is where it's at. I always liked the purple hair. That's
No,
probably,
yeah, he's.
that's probably what it was.
Trunks is cool. I love Trunks too.
I did wanna ask too, or I guess bring up your Instagram,
Yeah.
just because if you guys don't know Erica, her Instagram's at Funsized Cosplay, which is insane because it's got what 15,000 followers.
Yeah, something like that.
You know, just casual.
That
No
sounds
big
like
deal.
borderline fame to me.
Right.
I'm telling you right now, that's nothing.
We're at
Wow.
like 600, and I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
So
Holy shit.
but
that's 5 years in the making though, right? Like when did you start the Instagram thing?
About 5 years ago, because I
Yeah.
was like, I don't want this mixed in with my personal life. Like,
Right.
honestly, for me and for a lot of people, I think cosplay is such an escape from reality. You know,
Right.
you can put on a costume and you can, if you go out, a lot of cosplay stuff that you wear, a lot of the costumes, you cannot wear that shit in public, man.
Right.
You
Sure.
can't
Right.
do it. The
Right.
looks you get, the judgments, and there's a lot of stuff I like where I'm like, man, I can't wear this out. People won't leave me alone.
Right.
Right.
So then I go to cons. I'm like, I can wear what I want.
right.
And people are ignoring me because it's normal here.
Right.
Like,
Huh.
I feel it.
So what's the biggest con you've ever been to?
that's it. Dragon Con,
Where was that at?
Atlanta, Georgia. That con,
Damn.
I didn't understand.
Yeah.
I was not prepared. We were there 6 days.
Holy
Jesus.
hell.
Did you
So-
fly there?
No,
Or-
we drove.
Wow.
but
That's dedication. I like it.
I got lucky enough. I knew a friend that was a train right away, right? Because the badge alone for that was like $150.
Damn.
Like, it was expensive, and it's amongst 3 really big hotels. and they all connect, whatnot. But I mean, when you go to cons, you're like, man, this is a lot of people. No, just go to Dragon Con, man.
Right.
It's fucking insane. I want to say, I don't even know the number.
So the whole convention was 6 or 7 days or so, you saying? Or you were just down in Atlanta for that long?
Technically, it's 3 days, but people show up 3 days early, and they just start fucking partying.
Wow.
Right.
That con does not die. Doesn't die.
Right.
I mean, we did so much stuff. I'm trying to think of where to even begin.
Fuck, Atlanta, just a bustling place on its own, let alone with, that, with people drawing all over the world and everything.
Thousands
It was freaking
people.
insane. But I'm telling you right
imagine.
now, shoulder to shoulder, whole time.
Fuck.
Shoulder to fucking, that's why I haven't gone back,
Yeah.
I personally, I don't drink. It's not my vice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just shoulder to shoulder. It was fun. I loved it. I loved that experience.
Right.
But I wouldn't go back again.
Is
It's
there-
too expensive.
Is there a lot of like drugs and drinking and stuff like that there?
Oh, yeah.
I would assume.
Every con.
Yeah.
Every con.
Yeah.
But most people are really into drinking when it comes to it. I mean, the last con, they put up a stripper pole in one of the hotel rooms and whatnot.
Okay.
So, like, it used to be a bunch of nerds and stuff like that. And now a bunch of the frat kids are like, hey, this is just a big fucking party with
Right.
hot chicks dressing up, and they look fine. Let's get in there, And then a lot of the girls, I don't know if you guys know Jessica Negri.
Mm-mm.
She's like she's basically the face of cosplay, I would say.
Gotcha.
I think most people would agree with. I've met her a few times. Boy, she's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She's cool as hell, but she's just like, wah, wah, wah. She just goes, and it's like, whoa, okay,
Right.
all right. But I've met a lot of the higher up people in cosplay with like millions of followers.
Wow.
And I've had I can say I'm close friends with some of them and everything like that. And just being around them, I know I don't want anything to do with it. They can't have fun. They're under so much pressure. They get so much shit. It doesn't matter what they do. They can't please everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to
be
dox them.
yeah.
Everyone's trying to. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, and you can't walk around without being bombarded by 20 people.
Right.
It's fun for 5 minutes, but damn, if I want to go to the bathroom,
Right.
it's like I got to go to a private one because the public one, they're gonna wait for me out in stall.
Right. Well, yeah,
Damn.
you mentioned before we recorded you wanted to keep it as like a hobby rather than a job.
Yeah.
How do again, we're kind of ignorant with this. So
No, you're fine.
Don't judge us. But how do people make money with that? Like I know, obviously there's like Patreon. There's probably a lot of people on Patreon for that.
Patreon's a big thing. OnlyFans is a new thing that
Oh,
started
yeah.
coming up, and that's freaking huge. One of my friends, I don't know, she's got like,
OnlyFans?
Yeah.
You've never heard of that?
Uh-uh.
I know.
it's really new. It's
Okay.
pretty
It's
recent.
I don't know if it's what it is for cosplay and stuff, but generally speaking, people will like get naked and stuff like that for like
Oh,
a
shit.
subscription and do pictures or videos and things like that.
Okay.
I don't know if they do that for the cosplay world too.
There's
but
a lot of people in cosplay that, like Jessica Negri, the biggest one with millions and millions of. She's got Patreon, everything. I'm pretty sure she only does implied. She's never done nude.
Yeah.
And people just,
Wow.
you
so
know,
just
once
like covered up
I
a
don't,
little bit.
I don't
or-
know if it's just like implied is like, oh, she's naked, but I can't see nothing, but I know she's naked.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Gotcha.
You know,
Right.
but it's just very. I don't know if it's like a fantasy thing for people, or people get really involved with the person in their personal life and they really do want to support them. You know, it's such a vary of so many different people.
Right.
But there's a friend I have with only, she at 50K yet? I think she's at 50K. And she, on OnlyFans alone, I think she made like $5,000. And she only does implied. She doesn't do any nude,
Oh.
anything
Is that
like
like
that.
a month? Is that?
In a week.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry, I should have specified there. But they're like, it's all in the tips.
Right.
People just leave tips all the time.
God damn.
Right. That's
One of my
crazy.
friends, she's from, oh gosh, I love this girl so much. She is freaking queen, man. She is actually in Germany, and I just met her. I followed her for years, and I just met her this past February, and she is, a lot of people, like, they try to hide a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're like, they don't publicly say they're in a relationship. They don't say that they're married because they want to keep that separate and be like,
Right.
ooh, I'm an OnlyFans girl. I have a Patreon. Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
You know, more money. This girl is so like, I'm going on my Tinder dates. If you don't have no money, don't talk to me. I blah, 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 blah. Don't waste my time. If you look like this, contact me. Otherwise, she goes on and on and on. And she freaking racks it in. The money she brings. She's fine as hell too, though. I mean, but
Patreon's a beast though. Like I know Dan Cummins, which is he's a comedian that was in our intro.
Okay, yeah.
He on his Patreon, he makes, last I checked, I think $38,000 a month, after fees and stuff like that, because it shows it on there.
Shit.
Some people can choose to show it. Other people can. Yeah.
Right. I know the History Hyenas, which is another podcast that I listen to. They're up to $27,000 a month.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. So I can imagine, especially with something that's, as big as cosplay and as much of an escape, people can make a ton of money.
Well, a lot of people, they also, surely, you got to know this person. Belle Delphine, the girl that did the bath water.
Oh, where she sold
her bath water.
Yeah, I heard about her.
Yeah.
So she disappeared for a while. Whatnot. She had over 4,000 Patreons, over 4,500 Patreons, and her highest tier was $20,000 a month for Patreon. So just think, 4,500 Patreons a month. Let's say 2 of them were the highest tier.
Right.
That's $40,000 right there.
Right.
And do you want to know? So a lot of people, when it comes, Belle is a little.
She's different.
There's a lot of accusations with her about selling nudes that are not hers and representing a lot of Lolita type stuff, which is basically saying someone underage.
Oh,
and she's trying to promote sexual underage stuff. You know what I mean? So, but she actually tried to come back this week or something like that. And a lot of people, for their rewards, some of them have physical rewards. They'll give you a print. A lot of them, they have a whole scope of work on how they built their armor that month. And they'll teach you step by step how to do it. They'll give you a video chat. Some of them actually genuinely give rewards. Belle, she's like, oh, you're like they're all like, you get a one Polaroid photo at the second to top tier, but the rest is just a thank you, and that's all you get for a reward. And the last one's I'll give you a video chat for $20,000.
Holy shit!
And some bath water.
Fuck.
We're asking for $2, people.
Right.
I know.
Not $20K.
I mean, if you got it though, fuck. I mean,
no, I know. I mean,
I
can see a lot of people are pissed at these kind of people, but at the same time, if the market's out there,
right?
I mean,
people, she's not holding guns to people's heads, making them pay for it. So
right,
yeah, and a lot of people are morals, and you're showing your body and yada yada. I said,
look,
at the same time though, think of anyone in the service industry. You're selling your body to landscape. You're working your ass off.
Right.
You're doing harm to your own body. Technically, you're selling your body to get income.
Right.
What's the difference in someone selling their body for what they want? You know what I mean?
Right.
That was explained to me once, and I was like, oh, fuck, that's a good point.
Right.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's a market for it. So if,
oh yeah,
I mean, you can't hate on people as long as they're comfortable. They're not doing anything illegal. They're not doing anything that's going to harm anybody. I mean, let them do what they want to do. If you're not into that, stay away from it.
Most of the people that are mad are either jealous or mad because they can't do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But there are actually a lot of guys that do it. A lot of guys that make a lot of money from it too, So
right. Jeez. Well, I did want to bring up the lion head.
Yeah.
Because you brought something that's very impressive. It was on the table. Unfortunately, I don't think we can fit it on the table and still be able to see you.
No, that's fine.
But can you show people the lion head and kind of give a little background on what it is and, why you decided to make it? Jeez. Oh, wow.
So I'm trying to think of the best. So, I mean, this thing is...
Jeez.
Pretty damn big.
Let's turn it around here. Can you move some of those koozies, Steve? Jeez.
You can eat some of those koozies.
Right. That thing is insane.
Look at that.
So this,
Yeah, what's the story behind that?
so I found this art. There's a lot of people who, so when they do cosplays and stuff, a lot of people actually commission pieces out.
Right.
So a lot of people would have actually like just paid someone to make this lion head, but everything I looked at, cheapest was like $500.
Right. I would have
So-
guessed it'd be more than that, to be honest with you.
Like I said, cheapest.
Right, right.
And I was like, and I like making my own stuff. I will say there are a few things I've had commissioned, but I always give credit and yada yada yada. But this I really wanted to make. But I did definitely have help, like the teeth and whatnot. If I bloop bloop bloop, ignore the cardboard and
Okay.
shit going on in here. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of glue and actual pins sticking out.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So a lot of people, if you look under the cosplay, it's like, wow, that looks like shit. And like,
Right.
yeah, that's right,
Right.
because you don't see it.
Right.
You know, you're hiding all the mistakes. But the teeth part, I actually got off Esty. It's a cast of like lion's teeth, and I had one of my friends, Travis. He does airbrushing and stuff, so he helped me airbrush the teeth to look realistic, and he airbrushed all the fur and
Okay.
whatnot.
Nice.
So that was a massive help for me.
Right.
But like the black, the gums around there is like foam, real thin foam. The whiskers are real light wire. The eyes you could get off of Amazon or something like that. But the face itself is actually the main fur. It's just shaved down,
Gotcha.
and
Wow.
it's on like seat cushion foam. The head's like, I
Okay.
mean, if you want to feel it, it's super light. It's not that
Oh,
heavy.
wow. I thought that'd be way heavier.
Like it's big, but it's really light. Honestly.
Right.
I mean, if I'm gonna have that on my head, you know,
I was gonna say, I
I'm
guess,
not wanting
right.
anything heavy. You know
And
what
you
I mean?
actually wear it, right?
Oh yeah, wear it on my head, whatnot. I just can't tilt back, or else like, whoop, I'm like, oh
Right.
shit, where'd my line go?
Right.
And then I thought, you know, it's really hard to find fur that's longer than this. It's really not out there. I looked and it's just not out there. So I decided to do these dread looking things
Right.
and put beads on it to make it just look, because this art was from the Zodiac, and I'm actually a Leo,
Gotcha.
and I just fell in love with the art, and I was like, I have to make this. Like,
Right.
oh my gosh. And I actually got a whole Zodiac group together, and we did the whole Zodiac from that girl's art that she did. We asked permission
Wow.
if we were allowed to cosplay from it, and I wanted to do a bunch more dreads. It's actually yarn, but it takes so long.
Right.
It looks like it. Now that you say it's
It kind
fucking
of
yarn, yeah.
gives me like a Native American kind of vibe
I was gonna say
to it.
tribal-ish
Right.
kind of.
That,
Yeah.
Well, when I presented it, it was at Colossal Con at Kalahari.
Gotcha.
So the whole theme and everything at Kalahari, I don't know if you're familiar with
Right.
it, but I was like, oh yeah, this
That-
is gonna be
that's
so
perfect for there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm pumped.
That's awesome.
But
That is insane.
Yes.
It's very
but
impressive.
I thought this would be good to bring just simply because I didn't do it by myself. I had help with it. You know what
Right.
I mean? A lot of people are like, where do I start with cosplay? You know, where do I begin?
Right.
You don't.
Right.
You just go.
So how long did that take you to make? And
I was waiting for that question.
we
fucking
gotta
hate
know.
you.
We gotta know. Did it take like months or like? Because that would take me 6 years, probably.
So the thing is, a lot of it is I do cosplay when I feel like doing it, you know? Because if I force myself to do it, it's a job at that point, you know?
Right.
And cosplay is not my job. It's just a hobby. And if I were to keep track how much that cost me, and if I were to keep track how many hours I put into that,
Right.
I would no longer do cosplay.
Right.
It wouldn't happen. I would, but I mean, over a series of at least 6 months, and just the research of looking into it, seeing, you know, what I'm going to have to get to it, you know. But I have a friend that actually did another very similar headpiece for a lion, and she knocked it out in 3 fucking days.
Jeez.
Wow.
And I was like, you fucking bitch.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Some people are just
But no,
artsy like that, though.
She does
Yeah.
it for a living though, and she's
Okay.
gosh,
Okay.
you cannot compare to this girl, man. There are a lot of talented people out there that just.
Right.
it-
So what was the motivation then to have you do it and spend so much time and money versus just, buying it elsewhere? Just kind of the love of it, or?
I like making shit.
Right. Okay.
I don't know why, but I do. And it's, what fun is it to me? Now, a lot of people, they commission a bunch of stuff because they're passionate about the character and whatnot, but this isn't really necessarily a character. Like, I'm a Leo, I love lions and shit, I just liked it and I wanted to do it. It's as simple as that.
Right.
But for some people, they feel so passionate about the character, they just want to cosplay that character.
Right.
And some people get into character and different stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's the thing, maybe you've heard of this. They're called furries.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what
Yeah.
furries are, yeah. Steve's part of the community.
I don't, yeah. Whoa, yeah. But
Be careful what you say. You'll
I
get
don't
offended.
know much. I don't know much about furries. However, I can definitely respect their craft.
Right.
Holy shit. Like, I'm pretty sure just a heads piece is like $1,000. Like, the time,
Yeah.
the money. I will say they are very, very skilled at what they do.
Right.
But the fact they don't say anything and they just go
Right.
kind of freaks me out.
Yeah, I mean,
That's just me.
I'm not judging people, but probably don't talk to me or don't like,
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
I don't think I know anyone who's
We probably
furry.
all know at least 2 furries that we're not aware of.
Maybe. I'm not very educated in the furry culture.
I was hoping you would stop at cult.
Yeah. No, but there's so many different, there's just so much.
Right.
I don't even know where to start on some stuff.
Do you know how many characters you've done? Like a rough estimate?
No fucking clue.
Hundreds?
No, gosh, no. Maybe
50?
like 20, 30, maybe. Not
Oh,
even.
really?
Not even.
Okay.
Something like
I
that.
would think it'd be
Like-
more than that.
Yeah, like so you got a closet full of stuff. You have a separate closet full of stuff. Like,
I got a
where
house
do you?
full of shit, man.
Wow.
I got many projects
Do
everywhere.
you
There's
have like
so
a
many-
go-to? Like, okay, I want to do this. I'm gonna go. You got a few spots that you hit up, or is there a
So
site
have
that you
you-
go to?
Have you ever like?
You hit Hobby Lobby, like, yeah, let me see what they got. I'm trying to make this,
So have you ever? I don't know. Do you have any hobbies where you just like start? Do you build anything or like? Meh, I don't know. Like, all right, let's go shoes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Are there shoes you're into one week and the next week you're like, nah, those are lame. These are the shoes, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of change your favorite every now and then.
It takes years for me to go through those
It takes
phases.
years.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, it's kind of the same thing, only in the sense of you'll start on the project, and then by the time you're in the middle of it, you may be going through the phase where you're like, I'm not even passionate about this anymore. But this, have you ever seen the meme where the guy's walking with his girlfriend and he looks back, oh, look at that fine girl. And another girl's like,
Right.
so I'm the dude. The lady, he's with is my past cosplay I'm not done with. And then the hot chick is the new cosplay ideas that I'm like,
Right.
I gotta make it.
Right.
But when I say the
Damn.
chick around me, I mean the 50 unfinished cosplays
Right.
that I have yet to
Right.
finish.
Right. I love it. I love it.
I hate it. So much money down the tubes, man.
Shit.
I mean-
it's not over. I mean, I guess, but yeah, that's like that like I said, it just shows me passion. Like, like so many ideas that you just can't, and it takes time.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh.
So, the
I gotta
subject
ask.
itself though, you're still into. It's just your ideas all over the place. I don't see anything wrong with that, unless you start like not paying rent and shit to
Right.
support your habit.
Right.
Then,
Yeah.
you
No.
know,
Yeah.
yeah.
I gotta ask too, because kind of the content of your Instagram,
Yeah.
without saying anything weird.
No, you're fine.
The content of your Instagram, you gotta get a lot of creepers.
It happens. Not as
Yeah.
bad as you think.
Okay,
I
good.
feel like I've weeded a lot out.
Okay.
I don't really put up with too much shit. There have been a couple people that have freaked me out, but at the end of the day, I'm always like, they're only saying this shit because they're behind a computer and they have
Right.
no repercussions. They have no
Right.
consequences.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They don't have a profile. They don't have an actual anything. They're just a fucking troll. You know
Right.
what I mean? But like someone actually said something as far as to say, oh, you're a good item for human trafficking.
Oh wow.
And I was like, fuck.
Right.
Like for a couple days, I was actually really like, all right, I gotta get away. Like is fucking weird.
Well, that's the one thing that I think, guys kind of won't fully comprehend is like we on our day-to-day lives, like I don't know if I've ever consciously thought about like being abducted. Like,
right.
I don't think I've ever been out and being
I'm all probably overly like, I wish a motherfucker would try to kidnap me.
Right. Let's
like,
go.
I kind of wish it happened just to see
Right.
what would happen.
Throw a couple elbows.
Next thing you know, I'm like, no, get me out of this truck, please.
I'm gonna be that guy like, hey, you got candy? Like, where's it at? But yeah, I mean, from a woman's perspective, and especially somebody that kind of posts like kind of sexy pictures and things like that.
Careful.
Like, it's crazy. That's definitely nothing that we would ever think about. So like, just does that ever happen at like cons? Do you ever feel awkward or like?
Not too often. I did have one situation where I was in line to go to the rave. And one guy, he kept hitting on me and stuff, and I just kept brushing him off, whatnot. And then at the end, he goes, I want to talk to you. Come here. And I was like, if you want to talk to me, you got to talk to me in front of my friends.
Right. Oh, for sure.
And he's like, no, like, come here, seriously. I want to say. And he thought that I was trying to play like cat and mouse type ordeal. Like, no, dude, seriously. Like, no, you're not getting the hint. And believe it or not, we're friends now. Actually, that's the funniest part.
And he's my husband.
But
so,
he literally, I got my husband into going to cons. He doesn't dress up. He's
right.
Which I feel so bad. There's a lot of people that cosplay. You need what's called a handler, someone to hold all your shit, because everyone's they're taking pictures of you. They don't want to see your bag, your phone, your And if you have this full armor suit, it's like. You need someone to be like, move aside,
Right.
And there's always, it's a very stereotypical thing where it's like, all right, where's the boyfriend handler person holding all the shit? So I try so hard not to make his time miserable and try to, hold all the shit. But this guy in the line, he looked at me face on, grabbed my legs, wrapped them around his front, and my face was here, and just walked away with me.
Wow.
Yeah, that takes some balls. And he had a lanyard on, and I had just finished self-defense class. So I did this thing where basically you go like this on both sides. And I would use my thumbs and I got really bony, whatnot. And it would cut off your circulation, and you basically pass out.
Gotcha.
And he basically passed out but was still somewhat conscious. You know what I mean? He just kind of dropped. And I was like, I fucking said no. And he goes, oh, wait, you're serious? See, I thought you were kidding.
No.
I was like, no.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, that would either take balls or like mental illness. Like one of the two of like.
But
look,
honestly,
man, like,
seriously, really nice guy. Honestly, it was a misunderstanding.
Okay.
But shit like that, there are creepy people. That's why I now know a lot of people in the cosplay community. When I go to a con, I can't walk anywhere without knowing people. I'm going to know someone where if something creepy's happening, and generally people are good readers of the situation. So if someone's being creepy, they'll step in and get the person to back off.
Right.
Generally.
That's cool.
Like, you said earlier too, like it's a kind of a community. Like you guys are all like passionate about it. I'm sure you guys all look out for each other.
Oh, yeah.
That type of weird shit.
100%.
So it'd be hard to go in there in a place like that and just kind of be there and, scoping out the place and somebody will pick up on you.
It's really huge cancel culture right now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone that's a prick or anything like that, or even the smallest thing, you're canceled and you're never going to a con again. You're on the list. You're not even allowed to enter.
That's good though. That's definitely good.
To a point, there are some people there have been false accusations and it's ruined their lives.
And you said people drink a lot, so I can definitely see what shit can, be.
Oh, yeah.
There's a fine line. Like I kind of hate cancel culture in general, but at the same time, like there's definitely a need for it, and there's a time and place for it. But there's a lot of people that kind of get scooped into that shouldn't have. So it's hard to find that line sometimes.
I don't know if you saw someone actually tried to do that with me.
Really?
Yeah. They said that I blackfaced.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a very serious accusation.
Right.
I've never been more petrified. And the thing was, they did that when I didn't post for over 5 months. It came out of the blue. And the two
Right.
photos they used to compare it was, one was over a year and a half old and the other one was 8 months old.
Right.
And one of my friends messaged me and said, hey, just to let you know, this person's trying to say that you blackface. I was like, what? And I pull it up and here's these photos of me, someone talking shit about me. And I just start, I don't know what to do.
Right.
I just
Right.
know if I message and try to defend myself, I'm fucked.
Right. It just
You know?
looks bad.
And anytime this stuff goes on, the fact that I didn't get doxxed is fucking insane.
Right.
But I messaged all my friends and I sent them the link. I was like, I don't know what to do. And all of them went to my rescue and I just...
Right. So what was the situation, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, no. Yeah. It was... So I ended up learning more about it and I understood why it happened. Afterwards, it was people who did not particularly like me. It was friends of someone who a few years back, I had accidentally misgendered them, but I really didn't know them. I met them a few times, and it was described to me from what I remembered that some days they feel more feminine, other days they feel more masculine.
Right.
And we had a sheep group, and I thought it was an all-girls sheep group. And they joined in to the group like a week before the con, and we had planned it like a year prior. So I didn't think of it, and I made a post saying, you know, I'm really excited. This was my first all-girls group. And their friend came to, they didn't message me. Their friend did. They said, hey, you know, they don't use pronouns. They use they, them. No he, no she, no they, them. I said, oh, you know, I'm so sorry. What do you
Right.
suggest that I use, whatnot? And there, I was in an area, I've only had internet the past year and a half.
Right.
At the time, I didn't have internet. I was at work. I was in a factory. I couldn't get it to change. It was they got real aggravated, and I didn't change it in time. But I did change it that same day. It was just not immediate.
Right.
And I also used a comparison that they didn't particularly like. And for example, I said, look, if you want me to call you a purple dragon, I will. You just have to tell me.
Right.
I will respect you. Just let me know. Like, I'll call you whatever you want.
Right.
I want to respect anyone's right. Just tell me. And they took offense that I compared them to a purple dragon.
It's an example. It's not
But
a
I
comparison.
didn't mean it that way.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was years prior to the accusation of a blackface.
Right.
But I guess they saw me at a con a couple weeks prior, and it brought up some anger
Right.
a little bit. And they kind of talked some crap, and then their friend decided to post this stuff. And I did a Monster Girl group where I was what culture would it be? An Egyptian character who was
Okay.
darker skinned. But
Right.
that year, you know, I'm a landscaper, whatnot. I have a lot of Native American in my family. So in the summer, I get a lot darker than I do in the winter.
Right.
And they used two photos, one, which it's actually really funny because with Raven, I did a shoot where I was significantly darker than this Egyptian character. But they didn't want to use that as a comparison because she's a pale-skinned character.
Right.
And they didn't want to... I kept bringing it up, like, but here I'm darker. If I was, in fact, blackfacing, then why, you know...
Right.
Let's be real about this. Let's bring in all the factors. And they used a very whitewashed photo of me, very overexposed in the winter, where I'm like, I mean, freaking white,
Right,
like
right,
really
right.
white. You know, I mean, I look like a freaking porcelain doll.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they used a porcelain doll photo, and then they used it against a photo which was
That's
a
edited?
little bit. It wasn't edited. It was a little underexposed. Like in the
Okay.
shade, there was a storm rolling in that day too. Plus, I was really tan. And the thing is, the two photos they used, you know how you go on Instagram, you click on a collage and you swipe to find photos? They used two photos you had to swipe in a collage to find. They weren't even a main photo.
Wow.
Right.
So that's like...
See, that's, I mean, I don't get it when you're clearly not being offensive. Like when you're clearly doing a character and things like that, like,
Yeah.
and especially in that situation, like, that's why I hate cancel culture. Like, it's just half of it's stupid and half of it's because of somebody else being offended rather than like the person that's, you know, that might be aimed towards or whatever you want to call it. It's somebody being offended on behalf of them.
Right.
And that's just like the dumbest thing ever. Like,
once it was brought to my attention, you know, I apologize. If this hurt anyone's feelings, I'm very sorry. This is not what I intended. I didn't even realize anyone would even think this.
Right.
But, you know, it was there were multiple photos of that cosplay, and they didn't have any issues with any of them, but that one photo. And the photographer we had was a little underexperienced. You know, he didn't have a lot of experience with editing and stuff like that. And all around, it was just a bad situation. And now that I know, I was told that I should have anticipated that, and I can't just post stuff. Like, even though I didn't edit the photo, and the photo wasn't edited either, they brought up the raw photo and everything. And even though all that happened, you know, I was told that I still have to anticipate that, and I need to be aware of that, and I'm not allowed to post those kind of photos. Which I understand, and, you know, now that I know and now that I'm aware,
I was going to say, it should be treated as like a learning opportunity rather than...
Which is what I've tried, because a lot of my followers, they're from our community, and a lot of people, when that happened, I was so mad because these people, they clearly had a vendetta against me. Right. You know what I mean? And they used something, and instead of using it as an experience to move forward and to educate people... people from our town was like, what's blackfacing? Like, they hadn't even heard of it before. Right. And then when they were looking at it, they were like, that's bullshit. You know, what bullshit? You shouldn't be, you know, what sensitive pieces of, I was like, now because of this, all the hick people that follow me, because they do, you know, because of the town we're from. Right. Now, instead of a learning experience, now they just got a really bad experience, and now they're not going to listen to anyone on this topic. Right. And that sucks.
Yeah, it's hard to...
But I'll show you the comparison photo, too, if you want, if you're interested at all.
That's fine. Yeah. It's up to you.
But yeah, I've always had an issue with cancel culture and trying to get people in trouble and, you know, things like that. Like, if you're doing something, really, come on.
You can take it, zoom in, whatever, whatnot. But one's clearly whitewashed, you know, because I mean, I'm right here in front of you. You can see me, you know.
Right. The black guy's not offended by that, so like,
Well, not everyone would be, you know, and they had just, you know, they had a previous, and I didn't realize that, you know, when I misgendered them and whatnot, I didn't. Really, and then when they accused me of this and whatnot, they said, why did you never apologize to them? And I did reach out, and I did, because they never actually came to me anything or said they were offended. Their friends came to me to tell me that they were offended.
So how the fuck are you supposed to know that?
So, like, that, I would say that's why I didn't. But now that I know how serious it was, I definitely reached out, and I definitely did apologize as much as that, because that is not what I meant. And honestly... I didn't even know what they and them pronouns were. I had no idea. I never even knew at the time when I met them. They were the first person I experienced with interchanging she, he pronouns depending on the day. Right. And then I had no idea they changed to only they, them pronouns. I had. Right. I mean, have you guys heard of it?
I mean, I've heard of it, but I haven't. I haven't experienced it. Yeah, I've never experienced anybody that does that. So
I don't think there's anyone in our town that. I mean, maybe there is, but
yeah, I don't know.
None that.
Yeah, that's all.
I don't know.
Right.
But I mean, I'd like to think a lot of people are like me in the sense of, as long as someone, I understand the frustration of, you know, I demand my rights. I want this, respect me. I get that. But at the same time, if someone's ignorant and does not have the knowledge and is so willing to learn, leave it to another day where you're calm to explain it to them. You know what I mean?
It's just such a weird situation. Like, I mean, I would hate for, like, my friend, if I came to Steve and was like, that picture or that, you know, caption was, I'm not a huge fan of it, and then Steve bitches you out, and then all of a sudden you're messaging me saying, "Hey, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, this all just got blown out of proportion. Like,
I think it was just a big misunderstanding, honestly.
It's just,
but to go and try to put dirt on your name,
right,
over a misunderstanding, that's just something I can never wrap my head around. You know what I mean? It's just
it happens, unfortunately.
It's just me. Yeah, I tend to give people the benefit of the doubt, I guess, when it comes to that, and I'll give you a chance to explain your side before I just go and try to ruin your fucking, whatever. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what's going on. It's to the point with, we're talking about, I don't know if follow Chris D'Elia and all that, and what's going on with him.
He's a comedian.
Okay,
So.
well, he got accused of some stuff, but like we talked about, it's big right now.
Okay. My husband probably knows. I'll ask him it when I get home.
Okay.
He's all into politics.
It's to the point now where you kind of have to question, and I hate, questioning victims when it comes to stuff like that, especially sexual stuff like that.
Yeah.
You hate to be like, yeah, but is that really how it went down? Or are you just looking for some money or some publicity? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then stuff like that, when people, stories of people coming after people maliciously, it makes you automatically, wonder what their true intentions are, you know, and it complicates things even further.
My thoughts, like, I don't want to get down this road or anything, but I guess kind of my thoughts with the D'Elia stuff is that just because you don't know, there's basically, like he said, some sexual kind of misconduct type stuff going around with people that are 16, 17 or whatever. This dude was like 35 at the time or whatever, and these were all like screenshots of emails going back and forth, right? And it shows his email address, and he's one of my favorite comedians. So it's a huge bummer to hear this.
Yeah.
I want to believe Chris, but at the same time, I'm not gonna take sides right now. There's, this just came out like this
Not
week.
until the information's all out there. It's so hard too, because then a lot of people, they're like, if you're silent, you're on their side. And it's like, well, with the technology we have today, it's so easy to put out misinformation.
Right. The problem with this one, and like I said, I don't want to get into this too far, but he did come out with a statement saying, like, I never sent pictures or anything bad to these people, like, blah, blah, blah. My thing is, like, it showed his email address. Like, he never said, like, that's not my email address. You know what I mean? That, I was waiting for that, and that, I was like, shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that's kind of like, it was me, but it wasn't as bad as you think.
Right. So I don't want to get into it too much, but that stuff it's all a fine line. And again, cancel culture in that instance, if it comes out that it's true, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You gotta pay the price or whatever. But at the same time, a lot of people get roped into stuff that should have never came up, and it's hard to find that line of what's true, what's not true, what's doctored, what's should we speak out against it? Should we stay silent? It's just everything's so
there's so many variables.
Like,
it's not just black and white. It's not easy. It's not simple. If it was, we wouldn't be all having all these problems we're having currently in the world now. Sure. You know what I mean? We just fix it.
Right.
It's not that simple. There's so many variables.
It's crazy shit. But we are pretty much at an hour already.
Wow.
Is there anything else that you want to ask before we close out or anything like that?
Do you see yourself doing this for the rest of your life? Is it something that you seem pretty passionate about it, even though you jump from project to project? The passion is clear. Is it something you see yourself? You said it's a hobby.
Yeah.
Will it stay a hobby? Do you see yourself doing it forever?
I really do think so. I used to go to like con every other month, something like that. Okay. Now I've died down to just a couple a year. So I've definitely went from to Right. You know what I mean? I'm sure I'll go down, but I've definitely seen like there was a Dumbledore, and so there's a lot of older people that go to cons.
Okay.
And a bunch of different stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I'm sure the biggest ones are in Columbus and all that, right? As far as in Ohio.
As far as Ohio, Kalahari is the biggest one.
Really?
At Colossal Con. Yeah. Ohio, There's Ohio Con, there's Montsuri Con. There's a couple cons in Columbus, but they only reach like, 5,000 people, maybe 10,000 with Ohio Con being the biggest. Honestly, I think Ohio Con's pretty dinky. If you want to go to a good con, go to Colossal Con. It's local. It's honestly, it's a really, really good con.
How many people do you think go to that one? Like 10,000? You said 5,000 is pretty small. So
Yeah, I think
10, 15, 20,
maybe
a
30.
million, 30,000. Jeez.
And that's the thing. They park all the way in the field, all the way to the road. Like, there's so many people there. To get a hotel at the Kalahari for this con, it's impossible.
Right.
Right.
It's impossible.
There's no way.
You can't do it.
There's no way. That's insane.
So a lot of people, you know, there's like, I think 5 or 6 hotels around Kalahari
Yeah.
that they'll use and just, well, that's the thing too. A lot of people come all over the world for that con. That's a huge, that's Ohio's big con, right? I know people everywhere that come to there, but there's no Uber. There's no Uber there. So a lot of people, they're just like, you know, if I don't get a room at the Kalahari, I'm not going.
Wow.
There's no Uber in Sandusky.
There's no Uber where Kalahari is. No, it's just in the middle of a field, man. I don't know how. I don't get it. You'd be making bank. It doesn't make any sense, you know?
Right.
But yeah,
Making a killing. You charge what the fuck you want because people are going to pay.
they pay freaking $30 for an alcoholic beverage there at the for a little alcoholic slushy, and they refill it all the time for I think $30 still. Maybe it's a $40 drink, and then the cut back is a $30. I don't know, but let me tell you that
for a $4 drink.
Yeah, pretty much. And there's like no alcohol in it. But you drink enough of them. Woo! But the employees there in tips, I think one of them said they made like $600 a night or something like that, just in tips. Something like that.
Jesus.
So, I mean, they're freaking Kalahari rakes it in, man.
That's awesome. For
sure.
But yeah, we definitely appreciate you coming
Yeah,
and educating us on all this stuff.
I tried. I really have no idea what I'm talking about. I know a little bit of stuff. There's a lot of gray areas, you know, that I just kind of like, But
well, I definitely learned a lot, and like I said, I appreciate you coming on.
absolutely.
Definitely follow her on Instagram at Funsized Cosplay. Is there anything else you want to plug, or any last words, or anything like that before we end this?
I think everyone should experience a con one time.
Okay.
If anything, it's really good people watching. You will not be bored.
Now, are you allowed to go in like regular clothes?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Like-
there's plenty of people that don't dress up
Okay.
at all.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
they're just there to freaking party.
I figured
My
you,
brother's
you
one of
probably
those
look
people.
weird
Okay.
not dressing up there. You
No,
know?
there's plenty of people not dressed up. And also don't think, like, I've been going for 5 years now. I still, over 75% of the cosplays, I can't tell you what they're dressed up as.
Oh,
So
damn.
don't think, oh man, I'm not going to know what anyone is. I'm not going to know what to talk about.
Right.
No one there knows what everyone is.
Okay.
Cool. Well, good to
Sweet.
know. Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely be down to go. It's definitely something interesting. But
Yeah, for sure.
again, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
And you know, if you guys have watched this far, please subscribe. Like, you're an hour in, just fucking hit subscribe on
Do
YouTube.
it.
We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff as well. But other than that, guys, have a good night.
We out.
Yeah. Yeah.